Hi, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Leo. Welcome back to Yoga with Lynn and Leo.
And welcome to day 14 of our 18 days of yoga.
So hopefully you practiced the long routine yesterday on day 13. If you didn't, you can go back and have a look at that if you want a longer routine. But today we're breaking down some of the poses from day 13 so that they are a little more understandable.
Okay, and we're going to need some equipment.
So, we happen to have here a stick. You can use a broomstick. Sometimes you can actually take, these days, you can take the handles out of brooms.
Yes, and you can purchase them separately. It does need to be quite a long one if you've got quite a long frame. So it doesn't need to be quite long.
This could be do with being a bit longer, and I guess this is about I'm not even going to try and measure that size. It's about 4 feet tall, I would think. Then we have a chair and a couple of bricks.
Okay, so our first pose, if you were with us yesterday in day 13, you would have seen Leo with a belt, using this for Virabhadrasana too. And that's a very useful way of practicing because it kind of distributes the weight quite well. So what we're going to use today for our Virabhadrasana 2 is the pole. So we're going to put this underneath Leo's arms in this way. Yeah, you have to fit in. So we'll just turn Leo out for a moment.
I'll try not to hit you.
so that you can see that it really does pick up this area between the shoulder blades. Is a really nice action. In fact, even if you're not going into Virabhadrasana 3, it's sort of this kind of really lovely opening in your chest. So when you've got your arms in this position with the pole, then of course it's difficult to jump. So Leo will step her legs, so she's going to turn back round and step her
legs. Try not to hit Lynn as I turn around.
Okay, so what's really lovely here is that, you've got full control of this upper chest area. You can just push these inner wrists into that pole and it scoops you up all the way, doesn't it? It's a really nice action. And also it frees the diaphragm and you get that nice extension. So turning the feet to the right and then keeping that lift through the centre of the body and bend your front leg. So remember, with your bent leg, you've got to see that there's a sharpness in the foot, so you're grounding down, but also you've got this wonderful pole to help you to lift up through the centre of the body. And not to forget this outer foot bone, that's really got to be working very, very strongly. And then release it, turning the feet to face forward, turning your right foot in, your left foot out, all the way, and again, nice deep breath in and lift up, and then soften the knee and coming into the action. So this is really all about training the body to go that little bit deeper and really to get that lift, because as soon as we start dropping into that hip, we kind of spread and everything bulges. So we have to see that we keep everything really alert and lifted and then coming up. So it's a really nice way of working. As we said, we're going a little bit deeper into these poses. We're just finding areas of support, perhaps that are a little bit sleepy.
I certainly wasn't sleepy using the pole, I have to say.
We've also got a chair, so if you don't have a pole handy, then a chair's really nice because you can hold the back of the chair, so you can stand in your Tadasana in front and just hold the sides of the chair. So if you do know that you've got a bit of a stiff body or over mobile body, this works really well. It gives you a frame. So Leo will demonstrate with this chair. She's holding on to the sides of that chair, and it's really nice. I think this is one of my favourite options actually, because you can really get that lift. And then turning the feet to the right and then coming into your angle position. That's it. That's really nice action, isn't it? And you can take the front body to the back body so that the back remains in touch with the back edge of the chair. So it really does help you, again, with a little bit of frame and support, and then coming up. So why would we use these supports rather than just do the classic pose? Well, it's really important that actually use the whole body. And sometimes our body gets used to using the bulky big muscles, and you will just practice the pose without learning that sensitivity of all those small areas that perhaps are a little bit sleepy. Okay, so we come for the other side, turning. Lifting up through the centre of the body, holding on to that support, and then bending your front leg. The other thing that it really does encourage using the chair is that you try to keep that meridian line through the centre of the body. So you can kind of tell if you're going a little bit too far to the right or to the left, a little bit less in the back leg. You want to really get that action in the back leg. So this helps to guide you, and then slowly release it and turning the feet. It's quite a useful tool, isn't it?
It is, and remember the props are not there to make poses easier.
Yes.
They're there to give you better alignment, and they certainly do that.
Yeah, they're very, very useful. Alright, so we mentioned we're going to need perhaps a couple of bricks. We're going to demonstrate this next modified version of Virabhadrasana 3 with 2 bricks. So stand in, preparing the legs in Uttanasana. Take the weight back, challenge yourself, take the weight back until you nearly fall over, so you find a little bit of bite. Now this bite in the lower abdomen is your lift. So you have to find that lift and bend from that lift. So as you come forward and place your hands onto those bricks, you will still keep that area lifting. Now step back with your left leg and then lift the leg up. So you're going to extend up. Now you've got to see that you push into the foot very strongly, lifting the abdomen nicely, and extending as if you were in Virabhadrasana 3, but without actually taking those arms up. So we're just learning the leg work at the moment, and then release it. And then we will come to the other side, so taking the leg back and extending and reaching. And go on pushing that leg really, really nicely, extending. Okay, and then releasing down. And then coming up. Alright, so we're coming for our next pose, which is Ardha Chandrasana. Now for those of you who come into a good Uttanasana, we will show you a version of this which is quite challenging. So it's very similar to what we've been doing now. So you're going to come into a forward action, and then step the back leg back. So just step the leg back, that's it. Now turn in the bricks, so you're going to turn those bricks, that's it. Lift the back leg up, and then see if you can balance and take this hand onto the hip like this. So this is a way that you could come into that Ardha Chandrasana. It's not our classic way, but it is a challenge. And then releasing down. So just a way of actually coming into Ardha Chandrasana, which takes tremendous concentration, doesn't it?
It really does, yes.
Tremendous concentration. And now we come to the other side, so taking the leg, and see if you can take that leg up, really keep that standing leg nice and straight, and then lift the hip. Now if it's too much to lift that hand, don't worry, you can keep the hand down, just get that idea of balance where you just bring this leg a little bit forward here, and then see if you can take that left hand onto the hip, that's it, and get that rotation, extend. It takes tremendous concentration, so those of you who are ready for the challenge then from Uttanasana is a really interesting way of coming into Ardha Chandrasana, and then slowly releasing down and then slowly coming up. So we're also going to show the classic way, so that was a bit of a challenge because that was unplanned. So
Lynn likes to spring these things on me from time to time.
Alright, so we're going to come into Ardha Chandrasana. Now, if you are new to this pose, then we're going to just take it very slowly now and explain each step. So we just jump the legs nicely, 4 to 4.5 feet apart, turning the feet for Trikonasana. Okay, and then coming into Trikonasana and putting the top hand onto the hip. And then softening that front leg and being there. Now, if you're new to this pose, then you have to see that you step the hand forward onto the brick and step the back leg in. Step it in, that's it. Now just be on the very tip of the toe and keep this leg soft. Now, before you raise this leg, you have to just have a look here and see that you're cutting this calf back and you're cutting this outer thigh and cutting this outer hip in, and that will bring that centre of direction really deeply to the spine and then lifting that back leg up. Now it's really important that your weight goes forward so you take the weight off the leg so it will come up, and for those of you who can, then you just lift that front arm up or the top arm up and extend into your Ardha Chandrasana. So it's quite a challenging action, but take your time with this. We're going to come out of it, so soften the knee and come back, a big step back. We're going to come for Trikonasana and coming up and coming completely up out of the pose. So you can see there, you can take it quite slowly. Now on this next side, we're going to see if we can launch from the bent leg position. So we're going to show you a little bit of this action. So coming into your Trikonasana. Now it all starts here. We're going to put this hand onto the hip. Now what's really important about this Trikonasana is that you've got to lift the buttock and you've got to deepen the creases. This is like a forward bend action. You've got to deepen the crease, so it touches this back area. We're not going to use the brick this side because we're going to see if we can launch into this pose. This is quite challenging, and there's a few things that need to be practiced before you start to get that launch. And one of the things that's really important is to lift this standing leg buttock and really deepen this crease here in the top thigh, because you're trying to activate the length of those lower back fibers to give you more support. So we're going to bend that front leg and then reach the arm forward and then see, are you able to, as you can see, traveling with Leo here, and extend the leg up. So that takes a lot of concentration again, extending into the heel. For those of you who can, take the arm up, but if it's a little bit precarious, then don't worry about it. Just get the first bit to start with, and then releasing down, softening the knee and coming back into Trikonasana. Really nice Trikonasana comes now. And then slowly coming up, turning the feet and bringing the legs together. Okay, so just being in Uttanasana, so always when you practice an asana, just come into a quiet, soft stance with the breath smooth and even. So we've come to the end of our 3 poses now. I bet you're pleased about that.
Well, they're quite fun poses to do, all of these, so do enjoy your yoga. You know, get a little bit of, it doesn't matter. With the Ardha Chandrasana, if you fall, which we all do from time to time, you've not got very far to go, it's only to the floor, so you can usually catch yourself before you fall down. And be brave about it.
Yes, do. And there's plenty of different ways of working, so do have a go with all of those too.
So we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow for day 15. Namaste.